Kickstart that OGGM out of bed. Kickstart that OGGM out of bed. Wake up. It's me. Hi, guys. You might be wondering why we're 24 minutes late from the usual 8 o'clock in the morning start time. We are having a lot of electronic difficulties here at Site B. California was hit by a 5.1 earthquake last night, and apparently it's messing with the communication network or something. I don't know. I'm just running way behind and nothing's working, so you may or may not receive this. Anyways, it's Wednesday, I think, and on Wednesdays we take a look at all the tabletop crowdfunding projects that are coming to an end, and one that's just starting and already looking to be freaking huge. So let's start with all the tabletop role-playing crowdfunding projects that are coming to an end, but you still have a chance to back. And this is the very first thing we saw, and I'm just, what the? This is the deluxe dragon chair from Carolina Game Tables. It's RPG furniture. There's a sentence I never thought I'd say. It is worth $6,000 plus shipping and handling, and they're calling that a reduced price, and they'll throw in a pillow. It's a chair. It's a chair with a pillow, and they're going to charge you $6,000 plus shipping. Is it in fact made from dragon hide? No. Is it made from real leather? Did you kill real cows to make this chair? Probably. Do I need a $6,000 chair in my house to show off people that I game? I mean, how would you even know this is a dragon chair? It's just red leather. I mean, God love you if you sell even one, sir. But I mean, really? What gamer has $6,000 laying around that just go, I'm going to buy a chair? Joe, maybe? Joe Mangiolo, maybe? I don't know. I mean, Deborah Ann Wool. I mean, again, God love you, sir. If you sell even one, you are a success. And I wish you nothing but luck. But in all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, if you have $6,000 laying around that you have nothing to do with, that buying this chair is like, well, I got $6,000 and I could, I don't know, do anything else with it. Or I could buy a chair. I don't know. Why don't donate to the charity? You know, if you're going to toss $6,000 away, donate it to charity. Anyways, again, I don't mean to bag on Carolina Game Tables. If this dude can sell even one, God love you, sir. You are an amazing success, but I got to be realistic. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have $6,000 sitting around, I can think of 6,000 other things that deserve it more than a chair. Moving on to that other thing that just doesn't deserve your money at all. We've got the first expansion for Coyote and Crow, $85 for the PDF and print version. This is called Ahatico. It's a Coyote and Crow expansion, continuing the unbelievably assholiness of the creeper and stuff of people who made Coyote and Crow. You know how we feel about Coyote and Crow and the things that they have said and done. So yeah, the less said, the better. On the other hand, Robotech? What? Now, I remember a couple years ago, there was a Robotech game being play tested because I remember my old friend Jeff, shout out to Jeff, backed it and then was very disappointed when the Kickstarter crashed and burned. And then there was another one that was floating around and he was on the top secret Kickstarter playtest for it and he hinted at it. But this was like years ago, like before I moved into Site A years ago. So anyways, this is a brand new Robotech game. It's from Strange Machines Games. It looks like it is using Savage Worlds, which is a pretty decent system to set that setting on. It's $170, gets you the PDF and print version of the book and the 4 hardcover books. It contains the entire Robotech macro saga. Congratulations for getting your hands on this license. As we know, it has changed hands so many times, and there have been so many attempts to make Robotech role-playing games, including the one Palladium made, all of which have ended up rather whatever. So if you have the rights, God love you. You can keep the rights. For a lot of people out there that don't have any idea what Robotech is or what it meant to those of us in America at the time it came out. Yeah, it is monumental, Robotech. But for younger kids out there, It's a game of giant stoppy robots in space. From Goblinko, we have Dungeons and Generates, the expansioning. This is an expansion for Dungeons and Generates. It's a $120 source book. It gives you 3 books that expands the world of Dungeons and Generates. If this looks strangely familiar, yeah, it looks a lot like I don't know, Dungeon Crawl Classic. Just maybe just it's got goblins in it, but the only goblin game I support is the one I've made. But hey, the art is cool. Always more room for a weird take on weird gaming. I'm very excited about this. If I had Kickstart money, I'd Kickstart it, even though I know I'd never play it or run it. And I have the PDFs, but it's the return of the West End Games D6 system. West End Games D6 Star Wars, don't care what anybody else says, is the best Star Wars role-playing game ever. And just if you're familiar with the history of the West End Games D6 system and the Star Wars expanded universe and how the two helped each other expand and grow before Disney said none of that was canon and made sure no more D6 Star Wars games could be made. It is monumentally important to the history of the expanded universe how important the D6 Star Wars game was. This is the second time I've said that. So this is the award-winning beloved West End Games D6 system that was used for Star Wars with anything resembling Star Wars shaved off. So it's the Star Wars game, but you can't use any of the Star Wars words. So instead of the Force, you'll be using, I don't know, the flow. Instead of R2-D2, it'll be, oh, hello, robot that looks strangely like a trash can. But yeah, it's D6 Star Wars. It's $50, which is reasonable. For all the books involved. Again, if I had Kickstart money, even though I know I'd never play it or run it, I'd get it just because it's D6 Star Wars. From Onyx Path, we have something called Scion Mythic Shards. Scion, I think, is one of the members of the World of Darkness world. It's the one where you play the sons and daughters of gods. If you're familiar with American Gods, think American Gods as a role-playing game. So yeah, Scion. So it's kind of superhero, but not really. This is a source book for it. It's $25 for the PDF and the POD. I think this is the cheapest one we've seen this week. It continues on with the story of the Scions. From Outrider Creative, we have Sweet Revenge. This is for Perils and Princesses. It's $25 plus shipping and handling for the PDF and print version. Sweet Revenge is a P&P game, gritty and pretty campaign where there's candy curse monstrosities, cursed witches, says twice you use the words curse, and mysteries. So it's princesses. She-Ra. And this one's always excited about it, even though it's way far away from us. This is a convention in Africa. This is the African Board Game Convention. It's in November in Nigeria. $8 will help make sure that this convention comes to life. So if you are in Africa or around Africa or planning on visiting Africa in November and want to go to a GameCon, hey, help these guys get their GameCon up and running, because awesome for you, Africa. Is this the first GameCon in Africa? Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember ever hearing about it before, but God love you if that. I got to stop using the same sentences. More power to you, African Board Game Convention, if you can get an African Board Game Convention going. All right, so that's all the tabletop role-playing game Kickstarters are coming to an end, but there is one that just went live like last night and is already kicking ass. Now, if you're not familiar with this one yet, you should be, because I think it just hit 10 million. No, it didn't. It's the Stormlight thing. So if everybody's wondering what the D&D killer is, if there is going to be a D&D killer, it might be this. This is the Brandon Sanderson Stormlight Archives role-playing game. It's currently at 4 million with 16,796 backers, 21 days to go. And yeah, it just went up to 5 million as we're watching it. So it's thing. And now Brandon has announced that he's doing his entire series of the Stormlight Archive and all of Mistborn into role-playing games. Does that mean he'll also do his weird superhero game books, which were really weird? I read the first one. I need to get around to reading the rest of it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It felt very much like The Boys, if you're familiar with his superhero game. But I've never read Sanderson, but apparently he's huge. And as we know, he holds the record for the single largest Kickstarter ever with his mystery book Kickstarter, which, depending upon who you ask, either made 12 million or 24 million. But anyways, yeah, so there was a lot of predicting that this was going to be huge because the Stormlight Brandon Sanderson fan base is just huge. So this is another one of those things that's going to live and die on the fan base, because we know if the fan base are pro Stormlight Mistborn, they're going to buy it even if they never play the actual game, because it is something that connects them to the books and Brandon Sanderson. It's critical role disease, where, you know, but I have been told by the very knowledgeable Stephen Glicker that the books are amazing, that Brandon Sanderson knows what he's talking about, and this is the game to watch. And Stephen Glicker over at Roll for Combat is one of the few people in the tabletop role-playing game community that I respect and usually knows more about what's going on than I do. And often corrects me and reminds me how dumb I am. Curse you, Stephen Glicker of Roll for Combat. Curse you. And never invites me to his shows. But that's okay. We still appreciate him. So yeah, Stephen told me this is going to be huge. Expect this to be huge. Expect it to actually be a decent game. He's doing a lot of stuff on it on Roll for Combat this week. So I would suggest, if you are curious in this, but yeah, the announcement that they're not just doing Stormlight, but all the Mistborn books and all the spin-off books and all, I mean, yeah, each Stormlight book, Mistborn book could be a supplement or an adventure path. It depends how you do it. You make the main books really expensive and worth it, and then you make the secondary splat books really cheap. You know, like $20, old school 1980s module, cheap. And each one covers one of the books. You don't want to have every one of them be like a $300 book. That would just tire people off, no matter how hardcore the fans are. Sooner or later, they're going to go, I'm not going to buy this because it's based on a Mistborn books sub-book. Yeah. But it seems that Sanderson knows what he's doing. So, yeah. Is this the D&D killer? We know that the Player's Handbook 2024 sold out at Gencon, but we also know Player's Handbook 2024 is getting a lot of issues because of the stupid copyright thing, which supposedly is fixed. So if we want to do the math, I mean, 3,000 at $100 each, you know, this May, you know, what's that, like $1 million? Close to $1 million, 300,000. So, yeah, 4 million beats 300,000, I think. Dyslexia math, of course, I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's already surpassed the amount of money Wizards made at Gen Con. Now let's see how much money Wizards loses once people realize they got screwed yet again. Anyways, that's all the Kickstarters this week. Links down below to the ones I think are worth your time. Obviously, the D6 Star Wars. And let me know which ones you pick up, if any, and what you think about them. Till next time, I'm the OG GM. If you appreciate me doing this every Wednesday, let me know. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later.